together with Earle Sports Bets. Yeah, the twins, they be checking in, stacking up. Green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah, it's R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
It's a beautiful thing. Pitchers and catchers have reported down in Arizona and in Florida. Before we know it, opening day is going to be upon us. It's about damn time we talk some baseball up in here. And it's about time we start MLB Futures shows. Today, we're talking the American League East. We'll be breaking down the New York Yankees. We'll be breaking down the Baltimore Orioles. We'll be breaking down the Toronto Blue Jays, the Boston Red Sox, and the Tampa Bay Rays. I believe tomorrow we're doing the AL Central, and then I think Wednesday we're doing the AL West before we head into the National League. So something I've been looking forward to for a while now. It's about damn time we talk about some baseball, and I look forward to it here. Tim, baseball? Rapidly approaching. You ready?
Yeah, I mean, I've already been in baseball mode from last weekend with college baseball, but yeah, I'm ready to jump into some MLB.
Awesome. Head over to the chat, Tim, and then we will get into the Yankees first.
Nicholas Handy, welcome. Ice saying Red Sox World Series. You're gonna have to wait and find out. There you go.
All right. You ready, Tim?
Yep. And by the way, we will be posting our cards on the Twitter page. With all that coming up, I'll probably retweet the to go with it. Retweet the show. So.
All right, let's get it started here. Got that there. Get our background going. Let's kick it on off with the reigning American League champion, New York Yankees. Their win total 92.5. To make the playoffs, minus 450. To miss the playoffs, plus 300. To win the American League, their American League East, they're plus 105. To win the pennant, they are 3-1. To win the World Series, they are 8-1. Their 2025 payroll is projected to be $285 million, which is fourth in baseball, according to Fangraphs. Last year, they went 94-68. They won the American League East. They took care of the Royals in the ALDS 3-1. They took care of the Cleveland Guardians 4-1 in the ALCS before they met a non-American League Central team in the World Series and lost in 5 games to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Last year, they averaged 5.02 runs per game, which was third in all of baseball. A .250 batting average had them eighth. A .765 team OPS third. 222 home runs last year, which was third in baseball as well. They were 26th in baseball with 74 stolen bases. Their pitching staff was solid, a 3.76 team ERA, which was sixth in baseball, a 1.25 team WHIP, which was 13th, 59 quality starts, which was also 13th, and they were 20th in baseball in errors. They committed 89 errors. Let's take a look at what they've done in the offseason so far. For additions, they signed right-handed pitcher Carlos Carrasco to a minor league deal. Same with first baseman Dom Smith. They signed Paul Goldschmidt, first baseman, to a 1-year deal. They re-signed left-handed relief pitcher Tim Hill. They also brought in JT Brubaker, right-handed pitcher. They claimed Alan Winans right-handed pitcher off of Atlanta. They also got off of waivers there. They also got Ronzi Contreras off of waivers from Baltimore. They re-signed Jonathan Loaisiga. They picked up Fernando Cruz in a trade from Cincinnati. They also, in that trade, picked up catcher Alex Jackson to be their backup catcher. Their big free agent move of the offseason, they signed Max Fried to a 8-year, $218 million contract. They traded for Cody Bellinger. They also got in a trade from the Cubs Michael Arias, and of course in that trade with the Milwaukee Brewers they got closing pitcher, right-handed pitcher Devin Williams. Further subtractions, they lost Jose Trevino in that trade to Cincinnati, which got them Fernando Cruz. So they lost backup catcher there. In the Cody Bellinger trade, they lost right-handed pitcher Cody Petit. In that Milwaukee trade for Devin Williams, going the other way was left-handed pitcher Nestor Cortez and second baseman top prospect Caleb Durbin. They non-tendered John Birdie. They non-tendered left-handed pitcher Tim Meza. They lost Tommy Kahnle to the Detroit Tigers in free agency. They lost Clay Holmes to the New York Mets in free agency. They lost Gleyber Torres to the Detroit Tigers. Alex Verdugo is currently a free agent, and so is Anthony Rizzo. And of course, who can forget, they lost Juan Soto as well in free agency to the New York Mets. Looking at their potential lineup here, this is where I'm not thrilled about this New York Yankees team. It shows, this is according to Fangraphs, their leadoff hitter will be Anthony Volpe, shortstop, followed that by second baseman Jazz Chisholm, right fielder Aaron Judge, first baseman Paul Goldschmidt, center fielder Cody Bellinger. Designated hitter will be Giancarlo Stanton. Their catcher will be Austin Wells. Left fielder, they are very, very hopeful on Jason Dominguez. And then Oswaldo Cabrera is still drawing into this lineup. And it'll probably either be Oswaldo Cabrera or DJ LeMahieu for that third base position. Their rotation is where it looks good, though. Garrett Cole will be headlining it, followed by Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Luis Gil, Clark Schmidt. And their sixth starter, if they want to run a six-man rotation, will be Marcus Stroman. Their bullpen's really strong. JT Brubaker will be one of the long relief guy, swing guy type of thing with Mark Leiter Jr. They re-signed Tim Hill, Fernando Cruz, Ian Hamilton, Luke Weaver, and one of the best closers in baseball, and Devin Williams. They're going to need that pitching staff, I think, to be really, really solid with how much that lineup has fallen off. Their top, according to MLB.com, their top prospects, 21st overall, Jason Dominguez, who will be making it, who made his debut last year with the Yankees, and will hope to have more of an everyday role with the New York Yankees here. For me, I'm not thrilled about this New York Yankees team this year. They'll probably make the playoffs because, as we'll get into, it feels like a theme in the American League. It's not as strong as the National League is. When you look at the American League, I think that when we look at the New York Yankees, one thing I'm going to be betting with a lot with them with this year, under the total, because you lose Soto, arguably your second best hitter behind Judge, your most consistent hitter, your best playoff hitter. You lose Gleyber Torres as well, which was a consistent hitter for you as well. And the one thing when I was looking at this roster, Tim, when I was looking at this lineup that I wanted to bring to you, take out Aaron Judge out of this lineup. Who's the best hitter in the New York Yankees lineup? Because I really don't know. Is it 37-year-old Paul Goldschmidt? No. Is it Cody Bellinger? Is it Jazz Chisholm? I don't really know what to expect from the New York Yankees here in this one. For me, no interest in the World Series, no interest in anything playoffs related for them. The only thing I'm looking at is under 92.5 wins. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to pull the trigger on that. For me, it's under or nothing for the New York Yankees. I do see a little bit of regression offensively from them, but I think they're a team that are going to win a lot of 3-2 baseball games, 4-3 baseball games, a lot of unders for them here with that pitching staff and the rotation and the bullpen with what I think is a negative regression year for them offensively. I do not think they'll be top 5 in runs scored this year. I think that'll fall off, especially who is protecting Aaron Judge in this lineup as well is something you also got to think about as well. So, Tim, I gave out my spiel here. What's your thoughts here on the New York Yankees, and do you plan on moving on them at all?
I do, and personally, I will say I bet all of these on January 16th. So I bet them a month ago because I wanted to get involved, and that's how I'm going to end up sending out my plays is what I got them at. And I did beat some line movements because it's at 92.5. When I bet it, I got under 93.5. So I got 93.5 wins. And I think that's going to make a big impact. I think that you could easily see this team winning 90 to 92 games. They will make the playoffs, which shouldn't be a surprise considering they're minus 450 to win the playoffs or make the playoffs. AL East, realistically, they should. I mean, me and you have a team that we like a little bit more, but realistically, they should. And the big thing is, if you're looking at the AL, just because I think the AL is just wide open. Like, I feel like there's 6-7 teams that can make the World Series from the American League this year. And 3 of them are in this division. So these are a spot. Is there a spot for this one? Yeah, I got the under 93.5 wins. It's down to 92.5. I would still take it. And as for protection for Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton's already injured. Like, they don't know whether or not he's going to be on opening day. Cody Bellinger is their best chance at having defense for Aaron Judge, but I would much rather face Bellinger than Judge.
Absolutely.
So the whole entire year for the Yankees, Bellinger's got to have a big year. Jazz has to have a big year, and Stanton has to stay healthy. You're not going to expect much out of Goldie. Like, he is up there in age. I found it hilarious that the Yankees went out and signed a 37-year-old first baseman on a decline after a bad year last year. Last year, 245 average, 22 homers, 65 RBIs. So Goldie coming off of a rough year, they gave him $10 million. Cody Bellinger wasn't coming off of a bad year. If he stayed healthy, he would have had a lot better of a year. 18 homers, 78 RBIs, 266 batting average, 751 OPS. But I will say, and this also comes in with it, Cody Bellinger props this year could come big just because of the stadium he's playing in. Because Chicago was not a good stadium for him. Little League Yankee Stadium is going to be really nice for him, but on the road they're going to struggle. For me, it's under. I got under 93.5 wins for the Yankees.
I would like to move on the under with the Yankees. And a couple other things you can look at. I don't really have any interest in any player futures unless you can find me a season-long prop for Aaron Judge to lead the league in walks, because who else in that lineup scares you?
Nobody.
Aaron Judge is 3-1 to win the American League MVP this year. Bellinger is the next closest at 40-1. For the Cy Young, Garrett Cole 16-1. The next closest is Max Fried at 25-1. Maybe Max Fried. Jason Dominguez is your favorite to win the American League Rookie of the Year. But for me, I have no interest in any player futures in this one for the Yankees this year.
I have a little bit of futures. Most of my futures for this division are on one team, so we'll talk about them in a little bit. I'm not going crazy with the Yankees. If anything, if you want to look towards some Cody Bellinger props, would be my only thing for the Yankees.
Fair. All right, Tim, head back to the chat, and then we will get into Orioles.
Boo waiting.
Yeah.
I thought Nick was going to say the reigning World Series champions, the Yankees lose.
The reigning World Series losers, the Yankees.
Oh, that's fantastic. A Dodgers repeat.
They do have the best team on paper, but I mean, if you look at the last 25 years, and I'll bring this stat up again. When you look at the last 25 years, you look at the team with the best record in the regular season compared to the World Series winner. Those two stats match 6 times. So just because you're the best team on paper, best team in the regular season, does not mean you win the World Series.
Yep. Plus 300. He likes to mingle.
No, I wouldn't have my money tied up that long for a World Series champion future at 3-1 odds. Not going to happen.
I'd say Aaron Judge is the best hitter on the Yankees.
No doubt.
No
we're talking about anybody other than Judge. You take Judge out, who's the best hitter?
Yeah.
Because that was Soto, then it was Glaber after Soto.
I mean, hey, Goldie had a good career with you guys. Nick, if anyone hasn't grabbed it already, Canada plus 175. They need to do it ASAP. That number won't be there after tomorrow morning. I have plus 195.
I got plus one. I got plus 150 pre-tournament. And then for tomorrow, I'm already on Canada puck line, super puck line, and minus 3.5. I think they're Finland. I think they come out pissed and they win something along the lines of 5-1.
No, that's lame. Go either way, go Finland tomorrow.
No.
I agree. There you go. All right, Nick. I remember this team quite well because I bet them every single day last year.
Yeah, let's get into it. Here we head from New York. We travel down to the Charm City, the Baltimore Orioles. Their 2025 projected payroll, 15th in baseball, $161 million. They finished with a record of 91-71 in 2024. They finished second in the American League East and in the first wild card spot. And then they score one run. They lose both games against Kansas City Royals in the wild card round, which was kind of surprising. This team was fourth in baseball last year in runs per game at 4.85. Ninth in baseball, though, at 250 batting average, a 750 OPS, which was fifth. They were number one in home runs at 235. Middle of the pack, 98 stolen bases. Their rotation was okay. 14th in team ERA, 3.95 runs per game, a 1.24 team whip, which was 10th, 68 quality starts, which was 6th. So they got a lot of quality starts out of their starters, and defensively, they were pretty decent. 10th in errors at 81. You look at the additions they made in the offseason, outfielder Ramon Laureano, outfielder Dylan Carlson, relief pitcher holds appreciators Andrew Kittredge. They signed
getting Felix Bautista back is going to be huge.
Yeah, that wasn't an addition though for them. Yeah, they signed Charlie Morton to a 1-year deal. They signed infield outfield utility player Nick Gordon to a minor league deal. They signed starting pitcher Tomoyuki Sugano out of the MPL to a 1-year deal. They signed the GOAT catcher Gary Sanchez. They signed outfielder / DH Tyler O'Neill. They got outfielder Daz Cameron, and as well as infielder Luis Vasquez. They lost in the offseason. They non-tendered Jacob Webb, right-handed pitcher or relief pitcher. They lost to in free agency catcher James McCann, outfielder Austin Slater, starting pitcher John Means, outfielder Anthony Santander, starting pitcher Corbin Burns. They declined the club option on Danny Colme, which is now a Minnesota Twin, and they declined the club option on Eloy Jimenez. Their projected lineup this year: shortstop Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, catcher, hitting second. Third, DH Ryan O'Hearn. Batting fourth would be the left fielder Tyler O'Neill. Fifth, right fielder Colton Cowser. Sixth, Ryan Mountcastle, the first baseman. Seventh, Cedric Mullins in center field. Third baseman Jordan Westberg hitting eighth, and second baseman Jackson Holliday hitting ninth. Their starting rotation leaves a little bit to be desired. Zach Eflin, Grayson Rodriguez, Charlie Morton, Dean Kramer, and Tomoyuki Sugano. And then their bullpen: Albert Suarez, Colonial Perez, Gregory Soto, Yainier Cano, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Keegan Aiken, Andrew Kittredge, and Felix Bautista does return. Their top prospect, this is, I gotta say, as much as we've loved the prospect pool for the Baltimore Orioles, I think this is the worst we've seen it. However, it's because all of their top prospects have already graduated, whether it's a Colton Cowser, whether it's a Jackson Holliday, whether it's a Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman. They've all graduated. So they only have 2 prospects in the top 100. They're 13th and 14th, though. So they've got some pretty decent talent. Catcher / first baseman Samuel Basalo, and first baseman, first base / third base Kobe Mayo. The problem with the 2 prospects that they have here is they're pretty blocked off right now, unless you are looking to get rid of someone like Ryan Mountcastle Basallo has really no path to the major leagues with Rushman and Mountcastle blocking him. And then if you're Kobe Mayo, you have Jordan Westberg and Ryan Mountcastle blocking you. So that's the prospect that's the tough part with their top prospects right now is they're blocked off with players already established in that lineup.
Yep.
I'm out on the Baltimore Orioles this year. Not a fan of them. I don't, and it's very frustrating because I wanted to see this team do literally anything in the offseason. And I wanted to see them bolster that rotation. I wanted to see them bring back Corbin Burnes because you look at that rotation, and I'm not thrilled. Eflin, Rodriguez, Morton, Kramer, Sugano. That looks like Eflin, who's I think a 2, Grayson Rodriguez, who can be a 2, and then you have 3 5s at the end of the rotation there with Morton, Kramer, and Sugano. Like this, and it sucks because this team has such a good young core. Henderson's in his prime. Rushman's in his prime. You have Holiday.
No, hold on. They're not even in their prime.
They're not even in their prime yet. The window is wide open, and the general manager wants to do absolutely nothing with this Baltimore Orioles team, and it's so frustrating to watch. And I don't know what to do with this Baltimore Orioles team this year. I think plus 205 to miss the playoffs because I like a couple other teams in this division better. It would not surprise me to see the Baltimore Orioles miss the playoffs this year at all. And it's unbelievably frustrating watching what they've done in the offseason to not improve. Like, what does this GM want to accomplish with this core? Because, yeah, they've had decent regular seasons. They won 101 games 2 years ago. They won 91 games last year. But they have no playoff wins to show for it. 0-5. You got swept by the Rangers 2 years ago. Cool, whatever. They won the World Series, end up being the Texas Rangers there. You get swept by Kansas City in a wild card series. That's bad. And I get it. They have to deal with the Yankees in their division. They have to deal with the Red Sox in their division. And I think this AL East, I would make a bet. I would bet the Orioles to finish last in this division before I'd bet them to finish first in this division, which sucks because I thought the door was wide open on the Orioles. I just don't think it is. So for me, it's under 88.5 if I am betting this. And I think the only thing I might end up with the Baltimore Orioles in this one is to miss the playoffs at plus 205. I think this is an Orioles team that falls off a little bit this year. I think their pitching lets them down unless they want to stop prospect hugging and trade a couple of their prospects for a starting pitcher, which, oh, yeah, they had one. They had a frontline guy. They let Corbin Burnes walk.
That didn't make sense.
I mean, I don't know what they offered him. Now, granted, he took way below market value to go to Arizona because that's where Corbin Burnes' family is. And he just had twins in the offseason and things along those lines. So maybe you can't blame the Orioles as much as we want to, but it's unbelievably frustrating what the Orioles have done this offseason. And I can only sell on the Orioles before I can buy on them. So it'd be under 88.5 wins for me. It'd be to miss the playoffs for me, though.
I'm going to, and I've been Mr. Orioles. I'm going to say that this team didn't get worse. Like, I don't think they got terribly worse. And I know that probably sounds crazy to you, Nick. I don't think they got worse. Now, losing Santander does not help. But with losing Santander, they got Tyler O'Neill. I think that's pretty compatible. Yeah, they lost Corbin Burnes. We don't know what we're going to get out of Sugano.
Sugano. And that's the thing with Tomoguchi Sugano is he's a veteran over there. He's been one of the better pitchers in the Japan League. However, he's 35 years old. And I don't know if his stuff, because he's not somebody who will light up the radar gun. He's not somebody who's coming in firing 97 miles an hour. He's a low 90s guy with a changeup and a splitter. Like, he's not somebody who's going to blow you away on the radar gun.
I got that. I'm gonna add one. I've got 3 futures for the Baltimore Orioles, and I'm doing it all. I'm going to do all player futures for them, because that's the only way I could really take an approach to it. Last year was a humongous down year for Adley Rutschman. Like, it was not the year he was expecting. I think you get a big production out of Adley Rutschman this year. I think he's able to pick up part of the slack. And I think that includes him hitting at least 20 homers. So over 19 and a half home runs for Rutschman this year. And over 69 and a half RBIs for him. I think you're going to see a resurgence from him. Now, the other guy I wanted to look at, and I do think he stays healthy throughout the year, and I'll make the argument, he will be a really solid one. Grayson Rodriguez is going to blow away a lot of people. I think he's going to have a very, very big year. I took him under 3.65 ERA for the entire season. I think he's going to – the Orioles are going to need an ace. Obviously, they see it with him. And I know you're going to look at it and be like, wow, they didn't really pick up Mitch for pitching. To me, I look at it and go, they're trying to help out Grayson be the best pitcher they could possibly be. You bring in Charlie Morton, a veteran, that could probably teach him a thing or two, because keep in mind, Grayson Rodriguez is 25 years old. He's a young guy, and he's only going to get better. You bring in Charlie Morton, who's going to be really solid, and you bring in Sanugo, which has been which is a veteran. I think it's only going to better Grayson, and it's only going to better Dean Kramer. I think Dean Kramer is going to have a little bit of a step up this year too. And hey, I love betting on Kramer. He was one of the most profitable pitchers in baseball the last couple of years. I am not betting the Orioles every single day this year. I'm not. That's not something I'm going to be doing. I've done, and it's going to be weird. I'm going to not bet them every single day for the first time in 3 seasons. Are you going to fade them at all, though, is the question. If there's spots. There probably will be spots to fade them. And I will say, Nick, what do you think was a big problem with the Orioles last year?
Pitching.
Bullpen. You bring back Felix Bautista. Now,
okay. The question is, how healthy is he?
Yes. Because in 2023, where he was his best, 33 saves, a 1.48 ERA, and 0.92 whip, and 110 strikeouts. He could be one of the best closers in baseball if he stays healthy, if he's back to the normal. We'll obviously see early in the season, but I really like that Bautista's back. I think Rutschman has a big year. Once again, and I look at this lineup, Jackson Holiday is going to have a better year than last year. I think Westberg can have another big year. I think Cedric Mullins can have another big year. Colton Cowser, another big year. Like, I see all those guys, young guys, they're not top of the names right now, but they're going to be. I think this lineup will be just fine. I think at the end of the day, they're pitching. You're going to be able to eat a lot of innings. You're going to be able to eat a lot of innings, and they're going to get through it with their bats. I think they're going to be still a very big offensive team this year. So I think the Orioles will be just fine. I think the Orioles will make the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. I think they probably get the wild card. I don't think they win the division because obviously we have another team that we think wins the division. But I do think the Orioles are not going to take as big of a step back as you do. I
think they finish fourth.
I do not.
I think they get leapfrogged by a couple teams, and and obviously we're going to be talking about them later in this show. But yeah, especially the team we're going to be talking about next. And I'm a little bit higher on the team after that. But yeah, I do think that this is an Orioles team that takes a step back this year.
Step back, yes, but still makes playoffs. Yeah. -3.5 is a super duper puck line.
Yeah, I think they win 5-1 tomorrow.
I'd say Bellinger after Judge. I would have to agree. It's probably Bellinger after Judge.
Yeah, I would agree.
How many blown saves did Krimble have? Krimble is no longer on the lineup, so they don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
O'Neill is a big addition. Yes, he is. He is
However,
Santander's replacement.
Yeah, he's Santander light. And the thing with that is, I think Santander you can guarantee would play more games than O'Neill.
Sure.
I think O'Neill is still injury prone because we've seen him in years past miss a lot of action, which is why he only signed a 3-year deal compared to what Santander signed. Is because O'Neill has had trouble staying on the field, and he's more of a platoon guy. So that's another thing as well. He's great against left-handed pitching. Not as much against right-handed pitching.
He also has an opt-out after the first year.
Yes. I think they downgraded from Santander.
Yes, but at the same time, they I agree. They don't. Under Orioles, Tim Soul just left his body hearing about his O's. I'm rocking my O's today, but it is what it is. Orioles are built like the Manning era Colts team. They're meant to play with the lead and sweat out a close finish. Cano and Batista are my favorite set. Cano and Batista is going to be a fantastic setup. Like that. That's great. I love that. But it's just we'll see. Or another way, everybody's so low on the Orioles now. I can see. I don't hate the roster. I don't.
They're young. It's still a young, fun roster. It's just frustrating. They can't. Their rotation, I don't think, is going to get it done.
Under 87.5, lines moving down.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't take any futures with the Orioles. I did not. I find your lack of faith disturbing. I still love. I still am gonna bet the Orioles often, just not every day. Can you alt line down it for some plus money with the Orioles now?
I think if you want to alt line it down, just take them and miss the playoffs. If you want to alt line them down, just take them to miss the playoffs. Better odds.
The Orioles are the Winnipeg Jets of MLB. Playoffs, no show. Yeah, I can see that. Felt let down by the Orioles. I did too. That was hard. That was difficult to watch last year. The playoffs, but it is what it is. All right, Nick. This is a team.
Actually, wrong. It's not in the right order.
No, come on.
It's this one first. It's the order that I have in my Google Docs. Let's get into it. Yes, the Toronto Blue Jays. 78.5 is their win total. To make the playoffs, 3-1. To miss the playoffs, -450. To win the American League East, 15-1. To win the American League, 28-1. To win the World Series, 55-1. Let's take a look at what this Toronto Blue Jays team has to offer. Their 2025 projected payroll, $250 million. Fifth in baseball. They finished 74-88 in 2024. Finished dead last in the American League East and missed the playoffs. They scored 4.26 runs per game, which was 17th. They had a 243 team batting average, which was 16th. They had a 711 OPS, which was 13th. They were 25th in home runs at 155. They had 67 stolen bases, which is 28th in baseball. Their team ERA was 4.3, which was 22nd in baseball, with a 1.27 team whip, which was 19th. They had 68 quality starts, which was 5th in baseball, and 88 errors, which was 18th. And even through all this, they made an effort, is one thing I will mention with the Toronto Blue Jays. They made an effort to get better this year. They went out there and they made some additions. They got Max Scherzer for a 1-year deal to be in the back of their rotation. Now, okay, you just made that look. Who would you rather have in your rotation for experience, Max Scherzer or Charlie Morton?
Charlie Morton.
Yeah, no, I disagree.
Because I feel like you're going to get more production out of Charlie Morton too. That's just me. Because I could see Max Scherzer being injured halfway through the year. Not even.
Fair. They also made the additions of catcher Christian Bethancourt to a minor league deal. Also, relief pitcher Richard Lovelady to a minor league deal as well. They signed Anthony Santander from the Baltimore Orioles. It was a 5-year deal. They got relief pitcher from the Philadelphia Phillies, Jeff Hoffman, former ECU Pirate. They also got Yimi Garcia, relief pitcher. They acquired Miles Straw from Cleveland in a trade which allowed them to get more international bonus money to not sign Roki Sasaki. They got Andres Jimenez from Cleveland in a trade, as well as Nick Sandlin as well. From their subtractions, they non-tendered Jordan Romano and Dylan Tate. They also waived Emmanuel Rodriguez. They outrighted Genesis Cabrera to the minors, and he went into free agency. I believe he's a New York Met now. Relief. They also relief pitcher Ryan Yarbrough to free agency. They also lost Spencer Horowitz in that trade to Cleveland, as well as outfielder Nick Mitchell in that trade to Cleveland, which got them Andres Jimenez and Nick Sandlin. Looking at their projected lineup, gives me a little bit of hope. Right fielder George Springer, first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr., left fielder Anthony Santander, shortstop Bo Bichette, DH Will Wagner, catcher Alejandro Kirk, second baseman Andres Jimenez, third baseman Ernie Clement, center fielder Nathan Lukes. Also starting the year on the IR, which we do expect him back. I don't know exactly when. Will be Dalton Varsho. Their rotation, their rotation could be worse. Kevin Gausman is your ace, followed by Jose Barrios, Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer, and Bowden Francis. Bowden Francis had a nice end to the year last year, where I believe he took 2 no-hitters since the 9th inning and lost them both in back-to-back starts. They're in their bullpen. Someone that they have a little bit of hope for, that's a little bit of a swingman, will be their long relief guy, will be Yariel Rodriguez. They also have Tommy Nance, Brennan Little, Nick Sandlin, Eric Swanson, Yimi Garcia, Chad Green, and Jeff Hoffman will be closing out games for them. Their top prospects for the Toronto Blue Jays, 87th overall, shortstop Arjun Nimala, which they are not expecting until 2028. International signing, very young, and I believe starting the year in rookie ball. Also, I believe starting in high A or double A this year is their 88th overall prospect, who they're expecting up in 2026, right-handed pitcher Trey Savage. So those are their top prospects as well. Would love to see a Savage in a game this year. He'll probably get a non-roster invite to spring training, but won't break. He didn't? Wow. But won't break camp with the team. When I look at this Toronto Blue Jays team, they feel like an 85 to 87 win team. They don't feel like a 78.5. I know. Bo Bichette can't be much worse than he was last year.
He was injured last year, yes.
He was injured a lot last year. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is in contract negotiations, and this is his walk year. And he saw what Juan Soto got on the market last year. And I think he knows he puts together a good season, he will get a contract that probably starts with the number 5 and has 9 digits. Which will bring me to a player future in a second that I'm probably going to bet for the Toronto Blue Jays this year. And that's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to win the American League MVP. I think if the Blue Jays do what I think they can do this year, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has an MVP caliber season, and they make the playoffs. Because in the American League, how many wins do you need to make the playoffs this year? 85? 86? I think the Blue Jays can do that, and I think the Blue Jays are a 6 seed, and I'm going to have over their win total at 78.5 and to make the playoffs at 3-1, as well as a small bet on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to win the National League or the American League MVP as well. I'm probably higher than most on the Toronto Blue Jays team, but I don't think they're a last place team. I think they're better than the Orioles this year. I think this is a third place baseball team in this division. And I'm going to be on them to make the playoffs. I think they're a 6 seed. I'll take a shot at plus 300. I'm going to take them over 78.5 wins as well.
I will say I think the Orioles have a way better team. And you were worried about the Orioles pitching. You're okay with the Blue Jays pitching?
I think their rotation's better than the Orioles. Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think the Orioles rotation's better. I don't think it's close. Because big concerns with Max Scherzer. I don't think he pitches a complete year. And I know you could say the same thing with Morton, but I think you get more out of Morton.
I take Scherzer over Morton any day of the week.
No, that's okay.
I'll take Bowden Francis. I'll take Bowden Francis over Sugano.
Sugano is a big question.
I take Bassett over Kramer.
I would take Kramer. I would take Kramer or Eflin over Bassett. Jose Barrios is.
I think Jose Barrios could be the ace on the staff. I'd take him over. I'd take.
But I would take. Grayson Rodriguez.
Okay, if we're looking at the rotations themselves, like if I had to pluck out of, if we had an Orioles team and we had a Blue Jays team combined, and I had to say one pitcher is the ace, it's probably Grayson Rodriguez.
It's 100% Grayson Rodriguez.
But Kevin Gausman puts up a hell of a fight. They have the same odds to win the Cy Young this year. Grayson Rodriguez and Kevin Gausman.
I look at the rosters, and I know you're trying to make the comparison, saying that I don't see Toronto competing with the Yankees, the Orioles, or the Red Sox this year. I just don't. And ready yet, Nick? I'll give you a good reason why you should not bet Vladdy to win the MVP, because he's not going to be playing in the American League the entire year. I think he gets traded, and I'm going to say the same with Bo Bichette. I mean, I don't see them necessarily tanking, but if the Blue Jays see at the trade deadline that they're 6-7 games back, because let's be honest, and here's where I would go for like my playoff teams: Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox, all better than them, all better than Toronto, in my opinion. I like Kansas City. I like the Rangers, and then you're saying that they'll have to battle it out with the Guardians, the Mariners, and the Astros for a playoff spot. That's the way I'm looking at it. Whose playoff spot are they taking? I don't see them. And you look at it, I see the Red Sox taking Detroit's.
I think
Toronto, I see Seattle taking Cleveland's.
No, I still can't believe in Seattle.
Or Texas taking Houston, or Texas taking Cleveland's.
I can see and here's the thing though, Tim. At the end of the day, it's 3-1 odds, and I think that the Blue Jays are going to be battling in that race with Kansas City. Maybe Texas. Texas is an ultimate boom-bust team for me. I still think Houston takes care of the division. I know we're going to be talking about them in a couple shows.
Yeah. I have Texas, but yeah.
Texas is a tough team for me to really cap. I kind of looked at the Rangers the same way as the Atlanta Braves. Does this guy bounce back? 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 And there's just too many question marks for me at the moment to really make any moves on them. But I can see Toronto in a 3-team race with Kansas City and Texas for the last wild card spot. And you're giving me 3-1 odds. I'm going to take that shot.
That's fair. I'm just worried about the rotation. I don't see the potential with the rotation. And I'm not really even a big fan of the lineup because Springer's past his prime. Santander, I love.
I love the addition of Santander.
Santander, great addition. Bo Bichette, contract year. Should have a big year. Vladdy, contract year. Should have a big year. Other than that, they bring in Andres Jimenez, which is going to be a get-on base guy, and that's about it. I don't like Kirk.
Here's the thing.
I don't like Ernie Clement.
When you look at Andres Jimenez, all I'm asking for is slightly below average offense.
Yeah, because he's got a good glove.
He's a platinum glove winner at second base.
Yes.
He's going to give you all the defense. If he gives you a 700 OPS with that defense, he is worth every penny you give him.
Yeah. I will say, and here's how I'll finish out the Blue Jays. I took their under. I got 76.5 and 78.5. I'm not comfortable with that anymore. I'm not happy with it anymore. I beat it. I did not beat it. I got an ugly line. And so be it. I'm on the under on the Toronto Blue Jays team. This is the team I'm selling in the American League East again.
See, I think if you're selling you're selling the Blue Jays, you're selling them low because I don't think they're not worse than they were last year. I promise you,
They're not worse than they were last year.
They will win more games than they do last year.
I can't. I can't buy into them. I know it's a buy low spot for them, but there's three pieces on that lineup that I'm okay with. Yeah, they finished with 74 wins last year. And all of a sudden they make all these additions, Nick, and they're saying they're only 4 wins better. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with it anymore, but I'm on the under 76.5 wins for the Blue Jays.
Fair. I can't wait to talk about this next team. So head over to the chat and then we'll get into the next one.
I would take that bet. O's versus Blue Jays win total. Hey, hey Nick, if you want to make a bet with that one, I'll take the Orioles to have more wins than the Blue Jays.
I would need some type of juice my way because it's a 10-game difference on the win total. But I do believe that the Blue Jays finish above the Orioles.
I can give you 5.5 games. I say the Orioles are better than the Blue Jays by at least 6 to 7 games.
Okay.
I can give you 6.5.
Deal.
I'll take the Orioles minus 6.5 games.
I'm giving you a really good line on that one too.
Yep. I want the O's. The Finland defense is bad.
Yeah.
Brunch in Boston. Ice X hoping for a miracle, but my money is on reality. Fair enough, McDavid. Okay, we're not talking about hockey here. Is this live or pre-recorded? 100% pre-recorded. Okay, we're not talking hockey. I'm not going to click on the hockey comments. Sorry, Nick. No unders. Today's suckers. Nuts. All right, Nick, I'm excited to talk about this team.
Yes, this is the one. I'm rocking the hat. Let's get into it here. The Boston Red Sox here. 86.5 is their win total. To make the playoffs is minus 145. To miss is plus 110. To win the American League East is 4-1. To win the American League is 9-1. To win the World Series is 18-1. Let's take a look at what we should expect from them. Last year, their projected payroll for this year, 2025, $171 million, which is 14th. I have to adjust that, though, because that was before Alex Bregman, which Juan Soto is getting $11 million more than Bregman. So,
per year.
Something there. This year. The Red Sox last year finished mid, 81-81 last year. Third in the American League East. They missed the playoffs. Their offense was solid, top 10 in basically every category. They were 10th in runs per game at 4.64, 252 batting average, which was 7th, a 742 OPS, which is 7th, and 194 home runs, 7th, 144 stolen bases, 7th. Their pitching is where they struggled. They're 15th in baseball, 4.04 team ERA. Their bullpen was terrible. 1.26 team whip. 57 quality starts, which was 14th, 115 errors, which was 28th in baseball. Defensively, they were not a good team. And it was really their bullpen too, because their rotation, and we'll talk about it in a minute here, was really solid, actually. All right, so what did they do this offseason? Well, they start out with a couple minor league deals. They signed Abraham Toro, infielder, to a minor league deal, as well as relief pitcher Sean Newcomb and relief pitcher Austin Adams. They signed Walker Buehler to a 1-year deal. They signed Patrick Sandoval to a 2-year deal. He's not expected back anytime soon. He'll probably miss this year, or if he does return, it'll be late in the season. They're basically paying the first year of his rehab. It's basically what the Red Sox did in hopes that his second year is going to be really solid. They got relief pitcher Aroldis Chapman and relief pitcher Justin Wilson to bolster the bullpen. They made the trade of the offseason, getting Garrett Crochet from the Chicago White Sox. Love this addition. You're looking for frontline starters? Orioles, look who you missed out on. Look at your farm system, Orioles. You couldn't go out and give me Garrett Crochet? The Red Sox did. And then the Red Sox are going to see great dividends from Garrett Crochet this year. Also, they got infielder Alex Bregman to a 3-year, $120 million deal with opt-outs, I believe, and deferred money. They did lose some players, though. There is some subtractions here for the Boston Red Sox. Relief pitcher Kenley Jansen, relief pitcher Chris Martin, relief pitcher Luis Garcia, starting pitcher James Paxton. They lost Nick Pivetta, starting pitcher, relief pitcher Lucas Sims. They got rid of all of their bad bullpen arms, basically. Outfielder Tyler O'Neill, they lost in free agency, as well as catcher Danny Jansen. And in that trade with the Chicago White Sox for Garrett Crochet, they gave up top prospects Kyle Teal, catcher, outfielder Braden Montgomery, and infielder Chase Madroff. Their projected lineup this year, kind of nice. Jared Duran will be left field, Rafael Devers third base, Tristan Casas first base, Trevor Story shortstop, Masataka Yoshida will be the DH, Wilmer Abreu will be the right fielder, Connor Wong will be the catcher. I didn't type it in yet because I didn't. Alex Bregman was not. They didn't make the Alex Bregman move yet before when I typed all this up, so I still have David Hamilton second base. Bregman will be the third baseman this year, and I would not be surprised if they move Rafael Devers to second base to have Bregman play third base just because.
I think they're gonna have Breggy play second.
I think so too. And then Rafaela.
They are. No, they've already said that. They're gonna have Breggy play second.
Yes, they are. Okay. And then Rafaela will be their center fielder. Their rotation is actually really nice. This is one thing I really love about this Red Sox team. Garrett Crochet, Tanner Houck, Brian Bayo, Cutter Crawford, Walker Buehler.
I love it.
That's a solid rotation. I love it. Garrett Crochet, I think can win the Cy Young Award this year. I think he's that good. Their bullpen got better. John Winkowski, Justin Wilson, Michael Fulmer, Brendan Bernardino, Greg Weissert, Justin Slayton, Aroldis Chapman, and they're getting back Liam Hendricks, who missed a lot of last season as well. Top prospects, the Red Sox got them too. I would like to make the argument that the Boston Red Sox have the best farm system in baseball as well. Why? How about 3 of the top 12 prospects? And you got the best farm system even after trading Maizarov, Montgomery, and Teal. They have the second overall prospect in baseball. In my eyes, number 1 because Roki Sasaki is number 1. But Roman Anthony, they expect him this year, outfielder. Second base, shortstop, outfielder Christian Campbell, who is 7th overall. They expect him up this year. And shortstop Marcelo Meyer, 12th overall. That's not even including the 76th overall prospect Franklin Arias, who is due up in 2027. This team is going to be awesome, the Boston Red Sox this year. And that's not including the 3 of the top 12 prospects in baseball who I think have the potential to break camp.
Roman Anthony's already on the depth chart.
Absolutely. I think Roman Anthony can break camp. I think
he already has. I'm looking at the depth chart right here.
Well, yeah, that's just all 3 of them can break camp this year.
Yep.
And I think the Red Sox would be better for it. I love Tristan Casas. I think you give him a full year, he's going to be awesome. Bregman to this lineup gives you playoff experience, gives you a solid hitter, and what a great fit Alex Bregman is with the Boston Red Sox. Why? Well, he had the Crawford boxes in Houston. Now we get to flip to he's going to hit 50 doubles off that monster this year.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to abuse the Green Monster this year. Jalen Duran had an awesome year last year. Rafael Devers is one of the best third basemen in baseball, other than that guy that plays in Cleveland. Trevor Story, if he's back and healthy, that's a huge addition for the Boston Red Sox, who missed him last year.
Yep.
Rafaela really blossomed last year, and so did Willie Abreu. I think you can make arguments for those guys to be top 3 in Rookie of the Year last year. For me, I love this rotation as well. I think Garrett Crochet wins the Cy Young. I think you can make the argument for for player futures. I think a Cy Young ticket for Garrett Crochet will be in my back pocket. I truly do. And this is a Red Sox team that I think is going to really impress some people. I'm very, very, very exposed on the Red Sox here. I'm going to have them over their win total. I'm going to have them to win the East, and I'm having them win the pennant. I think with the addition of Alex Bregman, this is the best team in the American League. The best team in the American League. I think they're better than the Yankees. I think they're better than the Astros. I think they're better than the Guardians. I think they're better than the Royals. I think this is the best team in the American League, this Boston Red Sox team, and I look forward to betting them an awful lot this year. So that's where I'm looking at for Boston, over their win total, to win the division, to win the AL. I'm going to pump the brakes maybe on the World Series. Maybe if I do, it'll be a very, very small bet on the World Series future for the Red Sox. I don't think an American League team wins the World Series this year, though. So if anything, it'll be a 1/10 of a unit play to win 1.8 units, probably with the Red Sox to win the World Series. It'll be very small, but I think the Red Sox, their ceiling is hoisting up the trophy this year.
I couldn't agree with more with everything you just mentioned. And I will say this is one of my biggest ones that I beat some nice line movement on. Because I personally have everything for the Red Sox. And I'm kind of contemplating whether or not to treat the Red Sox like I treated the Orioles last year. Every single day. Every single day, go for it. Like if I had a team like to do it with, I feel like the Red Sox could be that team. They're not a team that is the highest win total, that they're going to be monster favorites every single night. They're going to be dogs quite often. Their run lines are going to be quite juicy quite often. Let's just start off with all the stuff I have. I got 85.5 wins. It's up to 86.5 wins. I got them to make the playoffs. Yes, a little bit of a juicy line at minus 135. It's now minus 145. I got them to win the AL East at 460. Now it's 400. I got them to win the AL at 12-1. Now it's 9-1. I got them to win the World Series at 22-1. Now it's 18-1. And Garrett Crochet, Cy Young ticket, 750. Garrett Crochet to have the most strikeouts in baseball, 950. Here's your monster year for Crochet. And because I feel like the only way that he can win the Cy Young is if he has a big strikeout year. And
I can see that.
I'm going big on him. By the way, Crochet's strikeout prop, 101.5. His ERA prop, 3.05.
So they don't expect him to throw many innings then.
No, that's not saying that. And he's projected over 10. His win total is 10.5. I think you get a big year out of Crochet. I am very, very high on this Red Sox team like you are. So I'm all in on the Red Sox this year. All in on the Red Sox. So a lot of my futures all in on Boston.
Yep. Head over to the chat and we'll finish it off with the Tampa Rays.
Yep. I miss Pavetta. I don't believe Garrett is worth it for the asking price. He better pitch his ass off. He's in a much higher level of competition. I think with the defense behind him that he will be just fine. Relief pitching is the only weakness spot. I don't see that as a weakness spot now with getting Liam Hendricks back and having Aroldis Chapman. Whitlock's going to be great.
And Justin
Wisniewski's not going to. You're not going to have Wisniewski starting games. You're going to have him being a strong reliever. I like this rotation and bullpen. Story home run. Story has to stay healthy. Nick has a strange boner for Boston right now.
I love this roster.
If there was a World Series, if there was a Cy Young for the first 4 months of the season, Garrett Crochet could win. I think he's gonna be strong all year. New band name, Strange Boner, I call it. Mets World Series, Red Sox, Mets World Series. I can see it.
Yeah.
Best in the American League. I agree. I strongly believe that they are the best team in the American League. Nick. Okay, Tim has the same Boston Boner, new band name, I call it. Fair. I just found juicy details for tomorrow. Garrett Crochet will burn out by early August.
See, that is a risky run if you're going to bet futures with him. This is his second year as a full-time starter. However, Like, he was limited last year by the White Sox who wanted to trade him. You take the training wheels off of him this year, I think he can do really well.
Yeah. Over the Met. I mean, I'll have Mets World Series too, but that's not the point. I mean, baseball, more baseball. Yes, baseball. If I'm awake tomorrow, I'll share it then. Didn't see the notification. Hey, you can rewatch the show. You're good. Let's head to the last team, which I don't know.
This is the one team I don't have anything written down for, like, futures wise. Like, they're confusing. Oh, let me switch to there we go. We'll finish it off. Tampa Bay Rays. Their win total 80.5 to make the playoffs, plus 240 to miss the playoffs, minus 340 to win the American League East 9-1 to win the AL it's 18-1 to win the World Series 45-1. Let's take a look at what the Tampa Bay Rays have to offer this year. Their projected payroll in 2025 is $90 million. It's 26th in baseball. However, they're playing in Steinbrenner Field, which is the Yankees' spring training facility, because of what happened to Tropicana during the hurricane over the offseason. They went 80-82 in 2024. They finished fourth in the American League East, and they missed the playoffs. Their offense is where they struggled. 3.73 runs per game, which was 28th. 230 batting average, which is 26th. 668 OPS, which is 28th. 147 home runs, which is 27th. However, they did have they were fourth in baseball in stolen bases, 178. Their pitching staff was good. It's just they don't go deep in games. 3.77 team ERA, which was 7th. 1.2 team WHIP, which was 3rd. However, 48 quality starts, which is 25th. 90 errors, which is 24th. Their additions, I mean, this is the Rays we're talking about here. They got Ha-Seong Kim to a 2-year deal in the offseason. They also got Eloy Jimenez, outfielder. They signed him to a deal, as well as catcher Danny Jansen. They acquired Alex Faedo in a trade from Detroit. They got Joe Boyle in a trade from Oakland. They got Matt Vessel in a trade from Philly, and Eric Orsi in a trade from the Mets. Their subtractions, they non-tendered Christian Pache. They non-tendered Tyler Alexander. They non-tendered Richard Lovelady, as well as Dylan Carlson. They traded Jeffrey Springs to Oakland, as well as Jacob Lopez, part of the Joe Boyle trade. And then they traded Jose Siri to the New York Mets in exchange for Eric Orsi. Their projected starting lineup: Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lowe, Junior Caminero, Josh Lowe, Danny Jansen, Christopher Morel, Jonathan Aranda, Johnny DeLuca, and Taylor Walls. Their rotation: McClanahan, back and healthy this year. Hopefully he can pick up where he left off before he got injured. Taj Bradley, Ryan Pepio, Zach Littell, Shane Baz, and Drew Rasmussen will round up a 6-man rotation that the Rays are most likely to enter the year with. Their bullpen will consist of Mike Vassell, Alex Faedo, Mason Montgomery, Manuel Rodriguez, Garrett Clevenger, Edwin Uceda, and Pete Fairbanks. Their prospects, this is where they can really hang their hat. They have 2 of the top 51 prospects in baseball. Number 9, Carson Williams, a shortstop. They expect him up this year. They expect him to be the franchise shortstop going forward, as well as first baseman Xavier Isaac, who could be the first baseman going forward if they want to go ahead and trade Lau. They also, both those guys are expected in 2025. They also have the 67th prospect infielder Brandon Taylor, who's expected in 26, as well as outfield/first baseman Trey Morgan in 26. Their, I believe, first-round draft pick out of high school outfielder Theo Gillen will round out their top 100 prospects, 99th, expected up in 2028. I don't really know what to expect from this Tampa Bay Rays team, to be completely honest. Will Rasmussen look good after the injury? Will McClanahan look good after the injury? Will Taze Bradley look good after the injury? Will Shane Baz look good after the injury? What is this offense going to bring you? What is Christopher Morel going to look like in this offense? He struggled after getting traded last year. Are they going to trade Lau? Are they going to trade Diaz? I really like Caminero. He unfortunately they played him too much last year for him to be considered in the Rookie of the Year conversation. Who's going to give him innings out of the rotation? That's an ultimate question here, because I actually saw an interesting stat since the COVID year. You know who leads the Tampa Bay Rays in innings pitched?
I do not.
Ryan Yarbrough.
He's no longer with them either.
No, he hasn't been with the last couple of years. But yeah, your guess is as good as mine for the Tampa Bay Rays. I think this line's spot on. I think they're a 500 team this year. And are the Rays going to play Rays baseball and they're somehow going to – would it surprise me if we're talking, 8 months from now, and they finished with 88, 90 wins and squeaked into a playoff spot? No. Would it surprise me if we talked about them 8 months from now and they finished with 72 to 75 wins and completely missed the playoffs? Also no. This is the ultimate wild card team for me, and I don't know what to do with them.
I'm just gonna put them down until they come back up. And I love how you mentioned the salary cap thing, Nick. How much they spent?
Yes.
$8.45 million of it is going to Wander Franco, who is currently doing jail. So interesting there. And then Brandon Lowe and Diaz are both getting at least $10 million. I don't trust the rotation. I know the Rays are fantastic with pitching. I'm not going to say that they're not. I don't trust their rotation to go in, day out, and get the job done. And their lineup is less than ideal. I just don't see them being a strong team in a division that could eat them alive. They have to play 19 times against the Yankees. I think the Yankees take at least 12 of them, 12 games, 13 games from them. I think the Orioles take 12 to 13 games from them. I think the Red Sox take 12 to 13 games. I think they get pretty close to split with the Blue Jays. I just don't see them having enough wins in there. And there's now, could this, as you mentioned, could this team be one of those that we come back at the end of the season and how did they just sneak in as a 6 seed? For sure. Is McClanahan going to be healthy? I don't know. Is Pepe going to be enough? I don't think so. Is Baz going to be enough? I don't think so. This is just a team that I'm going to sell on until they give me a reason to buy. So I took the under on the Rays.
Yeah, I understand that they're just the ultimate team that I crossed out. And I'm rocking the Jays jersey here, the Rays jersey here. They're just the ultimate team that I just crossed out because I don't know what to do with this team, and that's the plain and simple thing with it. It's just I just don't know what to do. All right, head back to the chat. And we'll finish on up.
Schedule's been flipped, but always be watching and liking the show. There you go. Fade Rays. Oregon State last night. Yes, Oregon State cashed last night for college basketball. Get your butt up tomorrow. There you go. Y'all have a dark horse or two for the season win totals at Earle's. I've heard the rundown of the Marlins offense and yeesh.
For season win totals, I mean,
so
I think my favorite if you're looking for a low total, White Sox over.
Yeah. I will say, Stop You, we're going to have shows. I think we're going to get all the teams done this week. We're going to get every single division done this week. We'll have one tomorrow morning for the American League Central. I don't think we're doing anything we're not doing anything on Tuesday because I'm going to be busy in the morning, and then I'm going to the ECU game at night. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll do at least one in the morning on all of them. And then we'll see with one of those nights, we'll get a night show for the last division. So we're going to have shows throughout the week for all the divisions. I like to target season stats, totals, unders for Verlander and Scherzer. Yes, I 100% agree. And I kind of want to look towards the under with DeGrom as well.
How much DeGrom pitches? Your guess is as good as mine. Same with how many games does Mag Trout play?
Exactly. Rays win more games than the Blue Jays.
No.
I can see that.
I don't.
But at the same, I would say the Blue Jays are sellers, or the Rays are sellers at the deadline, but I don't know.
The Rays will ray it up into the deadline.
Orioles, Yankees, Sox, Rays, Blue Jays. Realistically, no. I don't. I kind of like the back two. I think this. I just think the Sox win the division, but
I have Boston, New York, Toronto, Baltimore, Tampa.
I just don't see Tampa doing anything. I don't know what to think of their roster. That's my big thing. But that is all of the teams for the American League East. I've already posted out my card onto the onto Twitter, so all of that is already there. Definitely happy with that. But that is everything. We'll be back tomorrow around 10 a.m. for like 10:15, 10:30, somewhere in that range, Nick, for the AL Central, because I want to be able to have enough time to talk about it all. I'm going, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. That's going to do it for this edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show, MLB Futures, AL East. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck, guys.